I knew something was wrong the night she didn't hear me come home. Usually she'd call out from the living room or hurry over with that tired smile she saved only for me. But that evening the house felt sealed off, like I'd stepped into a place that no longer belonged to me. I set my keys down listening. A faint voice drifted down the hallway. Not hers. A man's. Low. Close. Too close. My chest tightened. I moved toward the bedroom quietly, not out of suspicion at first, but out of something darker, something I didn't want to name. There was a crack in the door. A strip of warm light leaked through it, cutting across the carpet like a warning. Her voice came next, soft and unsteady. I can't talk long, he'll be home soon. My hand froze on the door frame. I should have walked in. I should have swung the door wide and demanded answers. But I couldn't. Not yet. I felt glued in place, balanced between denial and certainty, terrified of both. The man spoke again, still calm. Do you miss me? She let out a breath that wasn't quite a yes and wasn't quite a no. It sounded like someone standing on the edge of something they shouldn't want but can't stop. I felt the floor tilt under me. She whispered, "Please don't ask me that." He chuckled softly. That's an answer. My throat burned. My pulse thudded in my ears. I shut my eyes and held onto the doorframe so tightly my knuckles hurt. I didn't want to hear more. I didn't want to breathe. But I stayed. I thought you said you'd talk to him tonight, the man murmured. I said I'd try, she whispered. Daniel's been exhausted. I don't want to hurt him. Too late, I thought. Too damn late. The man hummed, then said, just be honest. Tell him how you feel. For a moment, nothing. Then her voice broke. That's what scares me. I didn't move until I heard her end the call and a soft thud as she dropped her phone onto the bed. I stepped back and forced my breathing into something steady. When I finally pushed the bedroom door open, she startled. She looked small sitting on the edge of the mattress, staring at her hands like they belonged to someone else. Oh, she said, forcing a smile that never reached her eyes. You're home early. I nodded, pretending I hadn't heard the conversation, pretending she wasn't shaking slightly, pretending everything wasn't slipping through my fingers. Traffic was good, I said, setting my jacket down. She stood and walked toward me, trying to kiss my cheek. I turned without meaning to. It happened so naturally, so quietly that even she looked surprised. You okay? She asked. I think so, I said, though the words tasted like lies. She stepped back. Long day. Long enough. We went through the motions after that. Dinner. Dishes. Light conversation that felt rehearsed. She laughed at something on her phone while I watched her closely, searching her face for even a hint of what she'd said earlier. There was nothing. She'd always been good at holding herself together, even when she was falling apart. Later, when she said she was tired and heading to bed, I told her I'd join her soon. She hesitated, clearly wanting to pull me with her the way she used to. But she didn't ask. She just nodded and disappeared down the hall. I stayed on the couch and let the quiet press against me. Hours passed before I went into the bedroom. She was asleep on her side, her breathing steady. I watched her for a long time, wondering how many nights she'd lain in that same spot with her mind somewhere else, someone else. When I finally slid under the covers, I felt her stir. Her hand reached out instinctively, fingers brushing my arm. Familiar. Automatic. And yet I felt nothing familiar in it. I stared at the ceiling for a long time before sleep claimed me. The next morning, she moved around the kitchen humming softly, almost nervously. She kept glancing at me like she was waiting for a question or a suspicion to surface. When it didn't, she seemed relieved. But relief didn't last long. I watched her stir her coffee. Her hand trembled again. When her phone lit up, she slapped her hand over it before I could see the name. She tried to laugh it off too quickly. Everything she did lately was too quick. I asked, You all right? She nodded. Just tired. We both are. Yeah, she whispered, though something in her eyes agreed with me more than with herself. She left for work early, claiming she needed to prep something at the office. I kissed her forehead as she walked past, and she flinched just barely, but I felt it. She wasn't used to lying to me. She wasn't enjoying it. She wasn't built for this kind of betrayal. But she was already too deep in it to stop. The day stretched painfully slow. Every time my phone buzzed, I wondered if it was her. Every time it wasn't, my stomach twisted. By lunchtime, my head was pounding. I found myself replaying her words in the bedroom. That's what scares me. What scared her? Losing him? Losing me? Facing herself? The uncertainty was its own kind of torture. That evening, she came home later than usual. Her hair was damp from the rain. Her cheeks flushed. She looked startled when she saw me sitting at the kitchen table with the lights off. "Daniel," she said softly. "You scared me." I didn't speak. The rain pounded the windows behind her. She hung her coat slowly, eyes darting to me. "Why are you sitting in the dark?" "Just thinking." The pause between us stretched long and tense. She swallowed. "About what?" "About us." She blinked, and for a moment I saw it again, that fear from the night before. The fear she tried to hide behind routine. She walked toward me, each step cautious. "Daniel, if this is about us drifting, we can fix that. We've both been under pressure. We've both been." "You've been talking to someone else," I interrupted. She froze. Her breath came out uneven. "What are you talking about?" "Don't lie," I said, softer than I expected. "Please." She held her breath, then let it out slowly. She didn't deny it. She didn't ask for proof. She just closed her eyes, the truth settling onto her shoulders like a weight she'd been carrying too long. "How much do you know?" she whispered. "Enough." She nodded once, almost grateful the pretending was over. She pulled out the chair across from me and sat, folding her hands in her lap. "I never meant for it to go this far," she said. Her voice cracked in a way that hurt more than the words. "I didn't plan anything. I didn't wake up wanting something else." "Who is he?" She hesitated. "Someone I met at the cafe near my office. We talked. Too much. I let it happen." "Let what happen?" She blinked hard, trying to steady herself. "Feelings. Confusion. All of it. And you didn't think to tell me any of this?" She shook her head, tears forming. "I told myself it wasn't real. That it would fade. But it didn't." She let out a broken breath. "I thought I loved him." The world seemed to tilt. It wasn't just betrayal. It was the knife she didn't even realize she was twisting. "Thought," I repeated quietly. Past tense. She nodded, eyes shining. I swear to you. I didn't understand what I was doing until I saw the look you gave me last night." "What look?" She covered her mouth with her hand, fighting tears. "The look before you turned away from me. I didn't know it was possible to break my own heart while trying to follow it." The room felt heavier than the air could hold. I rubbed a hand across my face. "What exactly do you want from me now?" "I don't know," she whispered. "But I want to figure it out with you, if you'll let me." I stared at her, unsure of anything. Unsure of myself. Unsure of us. All I knew was something was tearing open inside me, and I didn't know how to stop it. I stayed quiet after she said she wanted to figure things out. Not because I didn't have anything to say, but because everything inside me felt raw. Words wouldn't come out right. Even breathing felt like work. She leaned forward like she wanted to touch my hand, but she stopped halfway. I saw the hesitation, the guilt, the fear. I saw all the things she hadn't said yet. "I want to be honest now," she murmured. "Now," I repeated. "After everything." She winced, nodding slowly. "I know. I should have talked to you the moment those feelings started. I should have run from them, not toward them. I don't even know how I let it get so far." "You fell for someone else," I said. She closed her eyes like the words stung. "I thought I did. I really believed it. But tonight on my drive home, I kept imagining you not being here anymore. I kept imagining you walking out the door for good. And it broke something in me." It was strange hearing her say it shattered her. It was supposed to break me. Maybe it already had, and I just hadn't caught up to it yet. I leaned back in my chair, staring at her. "You want me to believe that losing me hurt you more than falling for him?" Her voice shook. "I didn't fall in love with him. I fell into a moment where I didn't feel lonely. You weren't there. He was." My stomach tightened. "So this is my fault now?" "No," she said quickly. "No. It's mine. I let myself want the attention. I let myself believe it meant something. But when you looked at me last night like you didn't recognize me, I felt hollow. Completely hollow." I rubbed my temples. "You should have thought about that before." She breathed in shakily. I know. We sat there in silence again. Long, heavy. The kind that makes you wonder if anything can ever go back to how it was. Finally, she whispered, "Could you ever forgive me?" I looked up at her. Her face was wet with tears. She wasn't pretending anymore. That was the thing. She wasn't acting like a villain or martyr. She looked like a flawed, terrified human being who had gone too far down a road she should have never stepped onto. But knowing that didn't make it hurt less. "I don't know," I said. "I honestly don't." Her lips trembled. "Say something else. Anything." So I said the only thing I could. "Show me your phone." She froze. She looked at the table, at her hands, at the floor. "Anywhere but my eyes." "Why?" she asked quietly. "Because if we're being honest now, I want to see everything." Her breath shook out. She reached into her bag and pulled out her phone, hesitating before placing it on the table between us like it was an offering. "Passcode," I said. She whispered it without argument. I picked up the phone and opened her messages. She watched every move I made, hands curled tightly in her lap. I scrolled through conversation after conversation. Most were harmless. Coworkers, friends, family. Then I saw his name. Her face crumpled. I opened it. The thread wasn't long, less than a month's worth, but it was enough. Enough to see the shift. Enough to see the flirting. The late-night messages. The "I miss you" he sent at 11:47 p.m. The "I shouldn't say this but I wish I were there" she never responded to. But the worst part wasn't the romantic hints or the emotional closeness. It was the message she sent the night before, right before I came home early. "I don't know what to do. I care about you, but I can't lose my husband." She didn't choose him. But she hadn't exactly chosen me either. I felt something inside me fracture. Quietly. Coldly. I set the phone down and slid it back to her. She looked at it like it had turned into a weapon. "Daniel," she whispered. "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry." I stood up slowly. My legs felt weak. I grabbed my jacket from the back of the chair. She shot up immediately. "Wait, where are you going?" "For air," I said. "That's what you said yesterday," she whispered, voice breaking. "Please don't leave." "I'm not leaving forever," I said. "But I need space." She reached out and grabbed my sleeve. "Please look at me." I turned toward her. The sight almost made me lose my balance. She looked wrecked. Completely undone. "I thought I loved him," she said, her voice cracking on every syllable. "But I only realized tonight that I didn't love him at all. I loved how he made me feel. I loved not feeling invisible. But I've never loved anyone the way I love you." Tears slid down her cheeks. "Watching you pull away, watching you walk through this house like a stranger. It hurt more than anything I felt for him. Terrified me. I don't want to lose you." I swallowed hard. "You should have remembered that sooner." She sobbed, her hand gripping my sleeve like it was the last thing keeping her standing. I know. I destroyed everything. But please, tell me there's still a chance." A part of me wanted to say yes. A part of me wanted to take her in my arms and pretend none of this had happened. That part still loved her, God, I knew it did. Even as all this pain burned through my chest, the love I had for her trembled underneath it, stubborn and real. But love isn't always enough. Not when trust is bleeding out right beside it. I gently pulled my arm free. She let go like she just lost something precious. "I need time," I said. She nodded even as fresh tears fell. "Take all the time you need. I'll wait." I stepped toward the door, my footsteps slow and heavy. When I opened it, the night air hit me hard and cold. Her voice came softly from behind me. "Daniel." I turned my head slightly. She stood there holding onto the doorframe, shaking. "When you walked out last night, that was the moment I realized I didn't love him. But watching you leave right now, this moment, this is the one that's breaking me." I looked at her for a long second. Her eyes were pleading. Her shoulders trembling. She looked like someone who finally understood the cost of her choices. And maybe that was the beginning of something. Or maybe it was the end. "I know," I said. Then I stepped outside. I closed the door gently. Not slamming it, not storming away, because leaving quietly somehow hurt more. It felt final in a way anger never could be. I took a few steps down the walkway, unsure where I was even going. My heart felt heavy. My chest tight. The cool air didn't calm anything inside me. I didn't know what tomorrow would look like. I didn't know if forgiveness was possible. I didn't know if we'd survive this or break apart slowly over the next few months. All I knew was that I needed distance to breathe. Behind me, through the window, I saw her silhouette sink to the floor, her hands covering her face as she cried. Seeing her like that twisted something deep in me. I loved her and she broke me. And I broke her back by simply walking away. That was the truth of us now. Two people hurting each other in ways neither of us ever expected. I looked at the house one last time, unsure if I'd be returning as her husband, or as someone who used to be. Then I turned and walked toward the quiet street ahead, carrying the ache of a marriage that might still be salvageable, or might already be gone. Either way, the night swallowed the sound of my footsteps, leaving only one truth echoing behind me. Sometimes love survives betrayal. Sometimes it doesn't. And sometimes the moment you watch the person you love walk away is the moment you finally understand which one it's going to be.